So while we are waiting on parts for this one and that one, we are starting on this water pump in 05 Cayenne Turbo, which is down there. Look at all this clutter. So we'll be doing a how-to on how to do it. So first step is removing off the T-pipe. Begin with plugging throttle body here. This guy. Manifold knob sensor here. Vacuum for the solenoid here. 2 clamps on each side. And then here, which goes onto the throttle body, is held on by these, which are broken unfortunately. Has a lock here. We'll twist down in here, come out, keeping it from going up. So you'd have to unlock it here to where it comes out of the groove here. That's the first step. Next step is making room. Oh, also forgot this guy here. Clip has to get pushed. This gets pushed down, so it slides out. Now with more access, went ahead and removed vacuum hose that was here, and the hose for the hose separator that runs here. Next step is to gain access to be able to release the tensioner, which is down there. Will be removing radiator hose and possibly also removing more lines for the hose separator, which is here. So after some time and persuading, loosened the radiator hose, which goes here. Loosened one of the hoses for the hose separator to give me sufficient room to move this over. To gain access, moved it over now, but to the tensioner to get off the belt. Got the pulley off. Next step is there should be about 5 or if I remember, 5 E10s that hold the water pump in place. Once those are off, water pump comes off, and everything else is easier to do. Okay, so now removed a couple of the screws that hold the water pump in. Still have 2 on it. Loosened it enough to where I could just shake it off a bit. Hold on. You have to get loosened it enough so I'm not sure if we can see it. See it start slowly draining out. As you can see, there's already some water down there already on the. That's horrible. Okay, so once we got the bolts loose, we popped off the water pump. It's here, and we have it down over here. Which, see here, it's not very easy to turn. It should be free spinning, but yeah, this is why it needed to be changed. So you can clearly see the marks around it. This thing was leaking pretty bad, as well as over here. So yeah, water pumps go bad, very bad. Next step will be taking off that metal gasket that it has right here, cleaning this out a bit, and installing the new one, and putting the cooling system. Okay, so I got a little bit ahead of myself, as you could clearly see. So, water pump is back on, as well as a new gasket. Clean the mating surface before putting the gasket on, always, regardless if it's an RTV, paper, or in this case a metal gasket. Always clean the surfaces. You never want your water pump to leak after you do it, especially on older Cayenne turbos, because it's a pain in the ass getting back in there. So, once that was done, obviously as you saw earlier, we had the upper radiator hose off. But we're also doing both upper and lower radiator hoses. To gain access to that hose, obviously, Y-pipe comes off. Next step would be to undo the mass airflow sensor here. Then pull off the charge pipe that goes here to be able to gain access to the hose, which goes all the way down there. So we got that off now. Next step will be to tighten down and torque the water pump to 7.5 foot-pounds. Get the belt back, get the pulley as well as the belt back on. Tighten down the pulley to 4.5 foot-pounds. From there, upper, lower radiator hoses, then the white pipe, and then fill and bleed the cooling system properly, not just putting coolant in there. We will show you how to properly bleed and fill the cooling system on these cars. So as you can see, hose is now on via a spring clamp there, and a lock down there. Next step, we'll be doing the up radiator hose over here. But before that, if you ever do one of these Cayennes, V8, V6, V6, not a VR6, the V-style motors for Porsche, throttle bodies tend to get really dirty really quick. Always clean the throttle bodies whenever you have the white pipe off. If you see any filth, or in this case there's a little bit of oil due to the oil separator, always clean. Always. That can't be stressed enough unless you want a headache and then a check engine light, which no one wants, especially on these cars. So as you can see, we now have the pulley on, as well as both hoses. So as always, pre-lube, especially if there's an O-ring, which in this case, there's one on here and down there. Lube, make sure they're fully secure and make sure they're fully secure and on correctly in the proper orientation. Next step is now redoing all the vacuum lines which we pulled off for the white pipe, then white pipe on, or as is, if we wanted to, we could stop here and begin the bleeding process. But it's a little late, and I'm not sure if I want to piss off the neighbors, so we're going to keep going with the white pipe. Depending on how late it is after that, we might bleed this thing now. So, yeah, on to the next step. Okay, as you can clearly see, pipes back on and secured. Everything else is buttoned up, double checked, dipstick. One thing I forgot to show you guys was you do have to remove the dipstick to be able to get the belt out of the way. Simple T30. Dipstick then moves forward, you're able to get the belts out. Same for the pulley. Since it crosses right in front of it here, there's not much room. So, that. It's late, and I decided to piss off the neighbors. So, next step will be 1, running to AutoZone, getting coolant. 2 gallons, 3 gallons maybe. 3 gallons, 2 gallons. First step. Second step will be setting up the bleeder and the filler. Since these, you don't just want to pour in coolant as it goes. You want to fill the vacuum first, suck out all the air out of the system, put it under pressure, make sure it doesn't leak, and then using the same vacuum to fill the cooling system. After that, we're going to put the white pipe on and bleed it. So before doing the white pipe, I am bleeding the cooling system using vacuum bleeder and filler. Essentially, use the air, put the system under vacuum, you shut it off. Make sure it doesn't drop, because if it drops, you have a leak somewhere. Let it hold for a couple 20 to 30 seconds, make sure it's good. After that, you pop open this valve, and coolant, which is in here, pink coolant because that's what Porsche uses, goes in here and fills up the reservoir. As easy as 1, 2, 3. So it's been about a minute and a half, so you can see, holding without dropping. So now we shut that, make sure that that is all the way down, which so. Now we open the valve. As you can see, as that starts dropping, the coolant starts getting sucked into it. And that is pretty much how you properly fill a cooling system on Porsches. Okay, so now we have that properly filled, as you can see. Next, double check, make sure nothing was missed. All the vacuum lines are on, which clamp, that's on. Make sure everything we did is on correct. Almost forgot that. Get the master flow back on. Bam, got the throttle body back on. Obviously, as you can see, we haven't cleaned that. We were doing that last before putting on the white pipe, which is at the point where we are now. So, first things first, obviously, soak up the oil. Then with the bottle of brake clean, we're just going to soak this down and wipe it down. So, bottle, put rag, get that in there, and see if I can get this to stand up on its own, because this requires 2 hands. So yeah, just, nope, let's do that. Get the wrench out of the way. Now, as you can see, a little better. Still got something to get up over there, so give me a sec. Bam! Clean and good. Next step, getting the white pipe on, this, clamps, and then firing it up. And, white pipe back on. Now we run the vehicle. Typically 3 to 4 minutes idling with the AC off, then 3 to 4 minutes with the AC on, and hold it at about 2,500 RPM for about 1.5 minutes to fully purge the system. That is the proper cleaning procedure as per Porsche. Hope this was helpful, and next video will be of us doing the cooling system on the EK. Just waiting for parts for that, and this was a quick job for us that we got done in about a couple of hours, 2 to 3 hours, taking our time with this one. So, hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See you guys.